Hey guys, how are you? It's me and Barbara. Happy Thursday. Um, we just finished watching the Toronto Police Services Board meeting online. The mayor is changing his tune. By the way, fuck you, Mr. Mayor. You're lying again, telling that there was no injuries during the takedown of the Sacred Fire at Trinity Bellwoods Park.
Did they even talk about the Sacred Fire at all?
No, they just trying to put it to the what the media reported about the three arrests and the police, acted accordingly, and there were no injuries. So that is my problem that I have understanding. So I'm gonna let you listen to what the mayor said today at the Toronto Police Services Board. Be prepared to some shocking news, and mayor lies and cover it. And
The last, 10 minutes, right?
yeah, the last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It's going to be boring for some, but it is important to listen what the mayor has said today and the members of the council, the members of the board who are mainly made up of conservatives and liberals. We had this nephew of Doug Ford in attendance, Michael Ford, councillor.
Yeah, wow.
And then we have Francis Nanciata, another liberal, today, and tomorrow I'm conservative. So there you go. It's the problem that we have at the board. Many liberals are conservatives. The mayor himself is liberal. And then we don't have any voices that can make changes to the police services or the act. We need a new premier in Ontario to change the Police Services Act. And we need more composition that is diverse, a reflection of the community, not just a pointed finger liberals or conservatives. Here we go, guys. Listen in.
One other comment on a totally different matter, whenever it's time, if it's time now or some other time.
Now,
Pardon me?
now is fine.
Well, I had thought I would do this in the private meeting, but you know what? I mean, I should say it in the public meeting because I think it's important to be heard there, although it's not inconsistent with what I already said yesterday. And that is that I use the word review, and I think a lot of people have chosen to sort of interpret that as if when I talk about reviewing what happened with respect to the police and their involvement in the whole series of events leading to the dismantling of an encampment at Trinity Bellwoods Park, that the review implied on my part that there was something wrong. I used it more in the context, and a better word might have been debrief. But what I meant by that was the following, which is, first of all, after any operation of this kind, and I said exactly this yesterday, I'm sure that the police and the city, debrief themselves and look at how it all unfolded and try to learn from that and see if there are ways in which it could be done better, even if it's done perfectly. I think it makes sense that you have a debrief, and I suspect in operations of this size you do. I have made the point quite a few times, and I wanted to make it again one more time now. The police were only there. If it had been simply a matter of the City of Toronto Streets to Homes outreach teams talking to the people experiencing homelessness and the Parks and Recreation people talking about how the parks have to be available for all to use and the encampments can't be a permanent part of that, there wouldn't have been any police necessary at all, because there was no resistance being provided by people experiencing homelessness to having a conversation about accepting offers of different kinds of housing. The police were there because there was a real danger, and I think any objective examination of the video coverage of the event, will show that there were people quite aggressively throwing themselves at fences and doing various things that would have had any city staff member or a homeless person potentially concerned about their well-being and their safety in that regard. And the police's job, of course, is to keep people safe in the city. And so in that sense, I also said, and I will repeat today, that I support the fact that the police were there to do that job, that they did decide what resources to deploy, and that's the kind of thing you take a look at, I guess, in hindsight on all these different kinds of major events. But I would also point out that in an environment where there were quite a few, shall we say, animated people there on the protest side, all of the whole thing ended up unfolding without, as far as I could know from all the reports I've read, any serious injuries or any injuries at all. Which is exactly, while you wouldn't have wanted everything to happen that happened necessarily, if those things are going to happen, you want them to happen without injury and without any kind of bad things happening to people. So I just wanted to make that comment because my comments are supportive of the efforts made by the police, and they make their own decisions about what resources they need to keep people safe, which in this case they did. And I'm sure if they think that they could use fewer resources to keep people safe next time, that's what a debrief or review would do. And I also would point out, I guess this was a city-led operation, and ultimately, I guess I'm accountable for that, and I've been quite prepared to accept accountability for that. And so I think if there's to be a debriefing, it'll happen at the city as well, where again, I commend the staff there. They're not subject to the purview of the police service, but they are people that work for the city of Toronto. And again, they tried their hardest for months, if not years, to take as many people out of encampments and put them into other kinds of housing. And they continue to do that today as they did yesterday, even though yesterday the day before, there were other operations that took place. And so I would think that any kind of a debrief the city will undertake, because the whole thing was an overall city-led operation. But I would think it's important that the police, since that seems to be where there's a lot of attention paid, that our police service and the chief, would look at the resources that were deployed and see if that's the kind of resources, in light of who showed up and how animated they were and so forth and so on, were necessary or not. And I think that happens every time. I'd be astounded if it didn't. But I just wanted to be very clear, and I was quite happy to do it publicly here rather than in our private session, that I think that the very fact there were no injuries indicates that the job was done in accordance with what the police responsibilities are, and that my use of the word review wasn't to imply there was anything that was wrong, but merely to say that when you debrief on something like this, I'm sure you can discover ways to do things better, and perhaps sometimes with fewer resources or different resources or at a different time. Who knows? That's why you have the debrief. So those are my comments, and I just wanted to put that on the record here so that no one would think I was making it somewhere else where people couldn't hear me saying it.
Thank you very much, Mayor Tory. Chief, before we wrap up, did you want to add anything to the mayor's comments?
No, actually, I appreciate his comments, and we will, to his point, be debriefing with the city on this, and we'll look to make improvements where we can. But overall, I felt the operation was done very, very effectively. I will add that the managers, our unit commanders, yesterday reviewed hours and hours of body cam footage that was on full time during that operation. And we did not, in the video we saw, see any inappropriate behavior. Now, that's not every second accounted for, but it was a very thorough examination of a whole bunch of time that we spent that day. And so I'm quite confident we're not going to see anything that was inappropriate.
Thank you, Chief. Board members, can I have a motion to adjourn the public session? Councillor Ford, could I have a seconder? Ms. Morgan, all in favor? Any opposed? We stand adjourned. Our next meeting is Tuesday, July 29th, 2021. Location to be determined. Thank you.
So I want you to put attention to the chat section. People are speaking about this matter. There is my opinion as well. Stop the lies. Stop the lies. And thank you so much for friends for speaking out about this issue. I mean,
supporting us.
we were not allowed to speak because the rules of the police board services is that if you want to speak, you had to register the day before at noon. So the mayor said to the media he was going to review, but now he's changing his tune to say that is something that it is the problem of the city and the police service and the chief to evaluate the use of resources during the last showdown with the public at Trinity Bellwoods Park. Observe there was no mention whatsoever about the sacred fire
And us being arrested
and hurt
And
during the
hurt.
process. What a fucking liar you are, Mr. Mayor. What a fucking liar you are, Chips. So I want
no, I'm ashamed of you, and I'm Canadian. Hello.
I want you people to please share this video with everybody else, and especially the comments made by the mayor at the end of this meeting, that it ended up surprisingly at 11:30 this morning, and there was no debate. No one from that board raises his hands and says, "Wait a minute, Mr. Mayor, Miguel and friends have sent us videos that shows the opposite. That there has been violence during the takedown at Trinity Bellwoods Park. No one has the courage. You know why, my friends? Because these are appointed members from the province. And who is the king of the province? Doug fucking Ford, the Premier of Ontario, and directs his minions to select among his minions someone to sit at the board. And then, they don't speak for us. There is no diversity. I mean, we can have a black man, but that black man is like a middle-class black man that don't care about these matters because he has a job with the province. He has a job, a business. He doesn't want to jeopardize. I seen him coming to our community, by the way. He came for our anti-black racism. So I appreciate what you did for us, brother. But again, you should speak up today because we speak all the time when Black Lives Matter.
Yes, we do.
Are the doors, the lives of people are affected. So this time around it's about Indigenous Lives Matter. And you didn't say a word today. And I'm very shameful of you. Shame on you, brother.
Shame on you.
And not because you're black, okay? But because you didn't have the courage. Speak up. And again, there is no representation from disabled communities. There is no people from the poor communities to speak up, to be part of this conversation, to share the lived experiences, to change the tune at the Police Services Board, to defund the Police Services Board, to redirect the funds towards black and indigenous communities that wanted to escape from poverty. Because, my brothers and sisters, you know that the root of poverty, one of the roots of poverty is, one of the roots of violence is poverty and trauma, etc., etc. So,
but what would it have taken for people to even acknowledge this sacred fire? Did me and Miguel have to be really badly hurt? Miguel in the coma because they had him on the knee on him. Would it have to be my head to be split open, or one of the other people in the sacred fire for somebody to listen to what they did was wrong? Why? Because nobody was hurt. It still wasn't wrong. It's still wrong.
It's still wrong. So, two things happened during the takedown. We let them know that Section 35 of the Canadian Constitution of 1982, it clearly states that Indigenous people had the right to hold sacrifices for ceremonial purposes. Okay, it's embedded in the Constitution. It's in black and white, and the cops didn't care about it, and they move forward and they arrest everybody and they destroy the circle of fire. They destroy our identity. Again, why they don't respect us? We were holding a space for 512 children. That was the goal from our firekeeper to stay for 4 days, and we were just helping out to make it happen. And Barbara and I, we were really hurt by the police. And of course, Mr. Mayor, you can lie, you can deflate it,
You can do.
you can lie, but the truth will come forward, and you're gonna have to be prepared to look at her. This is police brutality.
My knees are still swollen.
My chest still hurts because my hand was like this on the ground. This is the ground, my chest, and I had 3 police officers on top of me. That they almost asphyxiated me. They almost killed me. I was, and I had to yell with the last remaining breath. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. But these fuckers will not listen. So again, Mr. Mayor, also. Your officers violated Section 11 of the Ontario Human Rights Code, the right for Indigenous people to hold a space for ceremonial purposes. So two violations you made: the Constitution and the Ontario Human Rights. You didn't give a fuck about Indigenous people's rights. You don't give a fuck about 512 children. And today we have another bodies have been found in Saskatchewan, in another reservation, another residential school. How many bodies are gonna be found? How many people had to be forcibly removed from a sacred fire, like it happened at Trinity Balbus Park? How much violence?
It should have been respected and honored. And people were still moving out. People were still listening to the police and doing their thing and packing up their stuff. We were just minding our own business in the little circle and doing our thing.
Yeah,
right?
I just watching CP24, right there. It says that 751 bodies buried at Mariabal Indian Residential School.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, 751 more bodies found. Imagine that. Adding up to 512. You
And
do
these
this.
ceremonies
You
will
do the
not
math.
stop.
You do the math.
We will not stop the ceremonies.
We are not gonna.
No.
Apologizing is not gonna bring back the kids. Number one, apologizing is not gonna bring back anybody.
Too late for that.
Too fucking late for that. The Catholic Church is not taking any fucking responsibility. The Pope is not apologizing. He's not
They're
saying
burning the churches down at the reserves.
yes.
Well, 3 of them now.
And any compensation that you are gonna give them to the people affected, the survivors, is they're gonna enjoy it because they're 60, 70,
Money's not-
80 years
no,
old.
Money's not important to them. They wanted their children.
What we want is systemic change. That's what we want. Systemic, the rules. We have to reset the bottom, the way we interact with Indigenous people. You cannot continue lying to them.
And by the way, I'm not done with this. What they did to me on the Sacred Fire. I'm not done.
Yeah, we're not done,
I am
Mr.
not
Mayor.
done. You were going to be hearing us,
Mhm.
hearing us, and hear us. I am not done.
Yeah, we're not done, Mr. Mayor, and this is the
I'm
responsibility.
still really sore. I'm still recovering.
You have responsibility on this matter, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
You have responsibility, and you need to come forward.
And talk to us.
Yes. Are you afraid to come to 220
And be
Oak
a
Street?
man.
Come to 220 Oak Street.
Doesn't have to come. I don't want to talk to him. Talk to us. See our view.
You know
see our
what?
point.
We hang out at Duffer in Grove Park. We have a ceremony
Why don't you
there.
come to a ceremony?
Anna Bailao came last Saturday, by the way, Mr. Mayor. Deputy Mayor Anna Bailao. So Anna Bailao, you know that nothing happened to you. We didn't hurt you. We treat you with respect.
Welcome with open
We
arms.
welcome you. We treat you with respect, and you left untouched and hurt. So, Mr. Mayor, if you come, don't bring your fucking goons. Don't bring the cops with you.
Come as a human
Come
being.
as a human being.
And as a man.
Come to the fire and put tobacco down for the souls of the children missing in Canada. And come and talk to us. Promise us that there's not going to be violence again against Aboriginal people. And stop the violence. And all those who have committed the crime, instead, I know that the chief has lied already on live on YouTube, saying that they review hours and hours and hours of video footage and there was
Bullshit.
no violence. Bullshit. Fuck you.
There was
Those
a
are
lot of
fucking
violence.
lies. So that's it for now. We gotta go for lunch.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Have a great day.
But Mr. Mayor, man up. Come to Dufferin and sit with us and share bread and
Yeah.
and
Talk to us.
talk to us.
Yeah, get some cochoni, Mr. Mayor.
You're for the people.
Or for the rich.
Yeah.
Okay, see you.
Peace
Peace.
out.